Alright guys, I'm going to be stripping a set today, a whole dining set, using our QCS Vintage Finish Remover. Great mid-century set, so this is one of the chairs, and I started to spray on the QCS, so this is how you'll receive it if you purchase some. It's our Vintage Finish Remover, and we're going to spray it on all the surfaces, let it sit for about roughly 15 to 30 minutes. We'll check back in at the 15-minute mark to see how it's looking, probably recoat it at that point. And give it roughly 30 to 45 minutes or so just to fully work. That should be enough for this set, but we'll find out. We may need to give it a little longer, depends on how the finish gives up, and we may need to recoat it again. So keep you posted, but just starting to coat this to get it all stripped. Alright, so I've got a nice even coat over this whole chair. This first coat doesn't have to be super wet, but you do want to make it pretty even. You want a nice even coat. What that's going to do is it's going to soften the finish and allow the next coats to grab. It is a liquid, so the difference between a gel and a liquid, gel will stick to the surface and not run very much. It might kind of drip, like kind of glob off, but for the most part it'll stay in place. But we really like the liquid because it's so easy to clean up and apply, and it's just a lot easier to see what you're working on. So QCS is a liquid, and you just put on a light coat to begin. That kind of makes the surface tacky and allows future coats to stick, and you have very little runoff in that case. So we're doing that now. Got a nice light coat on there, but even coat, and now we're gonna let that sit for about 15 minutes. All right guys, I've got these 6 chairs all coated, nice sort of first tack coat and sort of a heavy follow-up coat, and that used about 1 bottle of QCS, just so you know. So to do a set of chairs like this, you'd probably want a minimum of 2 bottles. I mean, this should be a pretty easy strip. This finish usually comes off pretty easily. So you'll want some QCS to do like a dip and scrub with. So we usually recommend pouring a little into a container and then dipping steel wool and doing like a scrub. But you're gonna need some for cleanup, like the after wash and all of that. But 2 bottles roughly would probably be your minimum. If you get a 4-pack, you'd be golden. We also have the table, so if you're doing the whole set, a 4-pack would be the way to go. But anyway, yeah, so got these all coated. Now we're just gonna go back over and start scrubbing them with wet steel wool and getting this old finish off. All right, so there are 2 ways you can tackle the scrubbing. One is you can pour some of your fresh QCS into a container that you can dip into and dip and scrub. You can also sort of do like spray it on wet, maybe spray some on your steel wool and then go in here and scrub like this. That's one option. Another option, we actually save the runoff. Like we have a vat here that we do flow over stripping in, so we actually can collect the stripper runoff. So that's QCS that has been used several times over. So you can also dip into old if you have it. But those are the kind of the ways to go about it. But you're gonna kind of get the steel wool nice and wet. That's why dipping is usually the best way, but you can also spray it on the steel wool and then just scrub it. This is a let's see, this is a 1-0, I believe, steel wool. Let's see, yeah, 1-0, so it's a medium coarse. I just wanted to show you, we already stripped this section here and wiped it off. What I normally do is use these blue shop towels or a rag, doesn't really matter, just something to grab the residue when you do an area, just to wipe it off. So I'm going to go ahead and scrub this area, and just using this 1-0 steel wool, you can dip and scrub. I just wet this area for the sake of this clip, but I just wanted to show you how it comes off. So super easy, it just kind of washes right off, and then just wipe it dry and get it out of the detail. But there you go, look how clean that is. So that makes it so nice when you move to the next step of restoration, because it's going to require very little, and it preserves some of the color that's in the wood. It doesn't strip it of the color. So that's QCS there. All right guys, so once you've got the chair all stripped, or the piece that you're doing, this has been completely cleaned of all the old finish. I'm just going to take some QCS now fresh and apply it to the surface, and just use these blue shop towels. Again, you can use anything, a rag or anything, and it's not flammable, so you don't have to worry. And then I'm just going to wash this as an after wash. I'm going to use the QCS to just clean any residue off the surface, and then that is done. You can go over it with water, but you don't really need to. The QCS works great as the after wash. Water just helps to get any little bit that's left on the surface, but you don't really have to do that. So that's how you strip a chair pretty quickly using QCS. So I just wanted to end really quick with just a overview of like what it required to do this chair. Again, we're doing a set of 6 with a table. This chair soaked for probably about 30 minutes with a light coat and then a second coat just to sort of dig in. Then we scrubbed it. The scrubbing took about 30 minutes to do. That's the labor time. The rest was just sort of letting it sit and work. So you got about 30 minutes of labor time. The 6 chairs took probably about 2 bottles, maybe less. It might have been a bottle and a half, but 2 would be safe to strip the 6 chairs. And we haven't started the table yet, so I can't speak on that. But this chair, again, took about 30 minutes of actual labor, and it's super, super clean now. And all the details, I mean, it is like spotless. So, yeah, QCS for the win.